Welcome to this week's episode of Paddy Talks Golf, powered by 4 Golf Custom. That's Derek and Don and Jill and Christine. Family-run business here in Ireland, based in Killeen Castle. The best of the tour go to them for consulting about what should be in their bag, a certain Seamus Power. But you and me can also go there and get custom fit for our games. Building better golfers every day of the week in their Zero Tolerance Workshop is where Don and Derek build all the clubs to your spec. Zero tolerance being the optimum word there. If you're looking for a tour level custom fitting experience, 4golf.ie is the place to go. Booking links are in the show notes below. Check them out. This week's episode, it's with Galway man, now touring golf professional, Ronan Mullarney. Ronan turned pro at a tough time, the brink of COVID, end of 2019, 2020, turned pro. And you might have seen him in headlines at the back end of 2023, having attained his Challenge Tour card. And that was by winning numerous times on the Alps Tour and doing what many seek to do but don't. But the Galway man, the gritty ginger from Galway, did it. And I think he just might be tough enough. Just might be thick enough, I think Ronan says in his own words, to make it to the DP World Tour and beyond. To learn about his journey, his experience about being pro thus far, and what he's looking to achieve next year and how he's going about things, talking about travel and the differences and getting prepared. And he thinks a little bit differently to most. Ronan Mullarney, this week's episode. Roll it there, Colette. Ronan Mullarney, are you ready to tee it up?
I am. Can't wait.
A1 pal. We were giggling there before I hit record. Now, we've met a couple of times since, but your original episode 28, so you're an early adopter of being a guest on this podcast. Year 1, 12th of Feb 2020. And that part of time in my life is when our baby girl arrived. So I remember everything pretty much plus or minus 2 weeks. So it was about a month later. We sat down because you had turned pro.
Yeah, that'd be correct.
Or you had just turned pro maybe 3 or 4 months. Maybe a couple of months.
December.
And
December
we were talking about goals and yeah. And then a month later, global travel shut down. How is that, Ronan?
Yeah, good times. It's hard to believe all that happened, but I did live through it.
Since I chatted with you, one of the questions I ask people now, because I'm 140 episodes later, I have a couple more questions added to the toolbox, is give us a time when you felt that really tested your mettle, or a tough time, or it could be during a round, it could be weeks on end on tour, not feeling the best, and what to do to get through it. Was 2020 like that for you? Or how did you navigate fresh pro, no possible travel really? You were allowed to practice, I think, and stuff. And then when things did open up, it was super congested, fields and tournaments and stuff. So how did you negate all of that?
Yeah, first year was a bit. Yeah, 2020 wasn't really much of a year. I didn't. I played one event. I played a Challenge Tour event in Galgorm, the Irish Challenge. And other than that, that was it. I didn't play any other event that year. So 2020, although I was pro, I don't know, was I really pro? Didn't really get up to much. 2021, no more than you said there, Paddy. Like, it was, you could do as you want within reason. Lots of instruments were shoved up my nose for those COVID tests. So there was lots of that. Just to clarify, for COVID tests.
Yeah, people forget. Like, I think Chris Elfers was caddying on various different bags throughout the year, and he was like, I think I've had like 500 COVID tests this year.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him at the end of 2021.
I remember
bonkers. Every day at one stage.
Yeah, multiple times, whatever group I was playing Europro at the time, we'd be in the airport and we'd have got, say, like if you booked your test last minute, you'd be waiting for the results, and your flight would be in, 2 hours, hour and a half, hour, and it's getting closer and closer. Not only do you not have the results, you're hoping for a negative, because if you're not negative, you can't go. So Yeah, it wasn't just golf you'd be worrying about back then. But yeah, sorry, going back to your original question, a time that tests my mettle. I don't know. I think um, I think golf is always kind of testing you. I don't think there's necessarily one time I could pick, but yeah, it's like I don't think it's the answer you're looking for, but it's a constant test all the time. It's real
Maybe
fixed.
I doubt the week or the few days in Doonbeg with Bryson tested your metal, did it?
No, that was good. Um, no, that was one of the better periods. Maybe missing the cut at the Open the following week. That although the few days leading up to it was great, but that Friday night that wasn't all that easy. But again, there's worse places to be than St Andrews, whether you miss the cut or make the cut. So, but no, the few days in Doonbeg with Bryson
There
was
is.
that was cool.
2023, and something I like asking when I get someone like yourself, tour professional, is that on the LinkedIn? Tour professional. At the start of the year, how do you go about planning your year, right? So I don't like asking people at the start of the year, what are your goals? Like what's in the back of the Rory McIlroy first boarding card of the year? But
Mhm.
sometimes I ask it at this time of year. At the start of the year, did you have a couple of things outlined in your book or tattooed on the inside of your wrist that you
Yeah.
wanted to accomplish this year? And how did you plan your year around accomplishing those?
Well, yeah, there was a few things, and the main thing, and the only real thing I wanted was that top 5 in the Alps to make sure I was playing Challenge Tour next year. So that was the main thing. And other than that, I thought it's a little bit. Although I was pro for 2 years, I didn't feel like there was even one event where I played. Where I played what I felt I was kind of comfortable with my performance. There've been 1 or 2 days, and then patches within the round, but not for one full competition. So I found it hard to gauge even where I was. So yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of I wanted to see where I was compared to the other guys I was playing against, and then obviously from there I I suppose I built on a couple of very early good performances and played quite solid throughout the year.
Do you think, looking back on the year, that you've shown to other Irish new pros or pros in general or pros looking to get back to challenge or wherever who may have slipped off certain radars or whatever, do you think you've shown that there is now like an avenue via Alps? Because I think beforehand it may have been seen, or the way I would have seen Alps is, it's like if that's the tour you're on, you need to be winning like you did this year, or kind of question is tour professional life for you. Is that a true statement, or has that been really harsh on people at that level tour? Because I understand, like from speaking to guys like yourself and girls in the same levels, that the difference in ability is absolutely minimal.
Yeah, it's tiny. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. No, I wouldn't quite put it as simple as that because, well, I suppose I'm probably a decent example of that. I don't think there's much between any of the third tier tours, so be it like Clutch or, although I haven't played Scandinavian, we played a co-sanctioned event this year, Pro Golf Tour, Alps. So there's 3 of them. I don't think there's much between them. My first year, I think I don't remember, like 80th, 90th in the order of merit. My second year, I was like 40th in the order of merit. And then this year, I won the order of merit on the Alps. So I don't think necessarily if you give it a.
Will you say that again? What did you do? What you do?
You heard me. Um,
You
I
won. You won the Order of Merit. Just let's recognize our achievements. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, back to the point. Um, yeah, I don't think it's probably fair enough to say that if you're not out there winning or contending week in, week out, it's not for you, because you said it there. There's so little between each one. Now, again, this is kind of hard to quantify, but I do think though, if you've given it, and I would say the bare minimum 2 to 3 years, and you feel you've played well and you haven't contended, well then maybe. And I wouldn't necessarily say, far from say like pack it in, but you might want to change something. But no, I definitely wouldn't say if you're not out there and you're not winning kind of straight off the bat that, pro golf isn't for you. There's a lot of well, for me anyway, I thought that everything is different. You have to kind of adjust to new surroundings, new events, new competitions. One thing I wasn't a massive fan of, say, in the UK was, when I played Europro, was I felt the English guys had a massive advantage. They've played all those golf courses, and they can just hop in their car. Whereas me and the other lads, I traveled a lot with Stuart Graham, Cameron Raymond. We'd hop on the flight, go rent a car, yada yada yada, and then the same coming home, get the flight back. So it was a bit more of an ordeal. Whereas although a couple of the guys can hop in their car in Alps events, they can't for the whole year. They can only do 2 or 3 depending on where they're from. So it's more of a level playing field, I felt anyway. So that was one thing.
Is there something you would do different now in approaching tournaments or life on tour compared to maybe the start of 2022? In terms of what have you learned to handle more in your stride is the question.
Good questions, Paddy. I would say
for me it'd be for me, even for my work, right? There might be 2 travel trips a month, generally to London, right? So it's the same fucking flight, same hotel. Okay, there isn't much adaptability there, right?
Yeah.
And it's still it's the last thing I want to be doing is the admin, right?
Yeah.
So it might be that for you. I'm unsure. So just stuff like that. It might be remedial stuff that you're Jesus Christ, in year 1, but actually by year 2 you're no, that's bish bash boom, job done.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say everything is just, I'm probably 10% more comfortable doing everything. I think that adds up a lot. So when you obviously learn things about booking flights, and flights in the evening are a lot more difficult because of there's delays and yada yada yada, little things like that. But I would say when you go to the rental car company and there's a line, and then there's a mix up with the rental car you've ordered, all those different things that go wrong that make everything just a little bit more difficult. That I kind of probably more just take that in my stride now. It doesn't necessarily irritate me, or where it might irritate me for the day, or wouldn't be able to. I'd be thinking about it throughout the day. Just not so much anymore. I think as well that I suppose I've played a bit more consistent this year, a little bit better. I suppose it's just nice confirmation to know what you're doing is. I suppose you're seeing some sort of results from it. So yeah, there's no doubt about it. If you're playing decent, everything seems a lot easier. But yeah, I would just say I'm just a little bit more comfortable with everything, because it's my 3rd year doing it. So I suppose that's to be expected.
First professional win earlier this year.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was there certain feelings or first full year playing Alps Tour is what I was trying to say. But then first professional win, did that give some gratification to your efforts in dedicating to Alps and not trying to be in and out of Challenge Tour, that you dedicated to the given tour and go about your business the way you've done?
Yeah, I suppose it did. Yeah. Well, that was one thing pretty much after that win, I was fairly certain that no matter what opportunity I got, within reason, I wasn't going to skip any Alps event, because I just wanted to make sure I played every event. There was only, I think, 14, 15 events, 14 maybe. So I was going to play them all, because there's no best 10. It all counts. So I was just going to make sure. But definitely, any time you win, especially having not won before as a professional, it's a gratifying feeling, I suppose.
What is your approach to next year? Is it a full Challenge Tour card? Is it partial? What's the story?
No, it's a full Challenger card, but it's so say the first 4 events are in South Africa and they're co-sanctioned with the Sunshine Tour. So I suppose technically it's not solely a Challenge Tour event. So I might struggle to get into a couple of them, but hopefully I can get in on an invite. So yeah, pretty. It's defined as a full Challenge Tour card, but I can't get into every single event. But I get into, I don't know, I suppose just over 90% of them. So as good as.
Okay. See, I'm OCD about organization. I know
Oh,
where I'm going to be, and like my calendar is fucking color coded, right? In terms
okay.
of priority.
Yeah.
So, so if I was looking at, I'm going to be playing 20 events and in different countries.
Mhm.
Maybe it's like the live guys. I'd like to know exactly where I need to be like months in advance. What is your view of the year in terms of what you will 100% get into so that you can do a bit of planning and take advantage of, advance rates and that kind of financial side of things as well?
Yeah, so at the moment, there's not a massive amount of that because there's only 4 events out so far. They're the South African events. But as soon as they come out, I suppose I'll get booking. There's pretty much, from what I understand, the vast majority, if not all, of the events back in Europe. So after the start of the year, I get into all of them. So that's when I can start booking hotels, flights, all that good stuff. And yeah, no more than yourself. I'd love to have it, nailed out, and I could book everything and wouldn't have to be looking for the free cancellations and all those things. So, yeah, there's a little bit of waiting, but patience and all that good stuff.
What are you doing? We'll call it the off season between now and the first start in South Africa. What are you at? Are we? I think I'm not sure whose profile it is. You'll definitely have to tell us in terms of the amount of gymming you're doing, huh? In terms of getting ready and building up more power and more speed, and being
Yeah,
more, all those beautiful things of being more in control of the impact and those things. How
yeah,
much work is gone in off the course, maybe compared to years past, because it's challenge tour now and all of the pressures, I suppose, or expectation that come with that.
yeah. So I started working with Stephen Rice. Of He started working as kind of a PT for sports people, and he's a slightly different take on it. I can't say I'm very into the equipment, very into the golf swing, but when it comes to S&C and that stuff, I have no idea. So I completely outsource that. If Steven says jump, I jump. It's that simple. But yeah, I'm doing a good bit of that these since August, but I've started to load on a little bit more weight since November, since the end of Q school, because it's quite a small window that you have to work on it. So, pretty much, yeah, like at least 5 times a week. And yeah, whatever Stephen says, just do it.
Have you seen any, I suppose, how the S&C is now transferring over to the golf course?
Yeah.
In your recent win in the Hillary Links
Hmm.
Society outing, Jameson Links, maybe.
Yeah, I have. I'm only very recently. So I would say at the start, I was I I would do bits and bobs in the gym, like once, twice a week, but it wasn't really enough to put on any sort of muscle. So, um, when I first started going at it so August was just kind of easing into it, and then November when I started to go at it properly. For the first few weeks, I was quite sore, so if anything, I lost speed. But ever since then, it's been kind of a small incline, and I would constantly be keeping an eye on it. I've GC Quad at home to use for TrackMan up here in Leopardstown Golf Centre. They're very good to me, so yeah, I would constantly be keeping an eye on it. I would say a lot of it for me, although I want to kind of build muscle, I'm very tight in my shoulders, so it's building kind of a bit more of a range of motion. Maybe slightly longer backswing, a little bit more time to build up some speed. So yeah, there's been a few things. I would say it's massive, yeah, but I don't expect it to be massive. It's more incremental gains over a period of time, so there's not kind of a massive shock to my system. But yeah, no, it definitely helps. I feel a little bit better as well. This next year there'll be more traveling. It's 4 rounds instead of 3 rounds, so just any little advantage I can get, I suppose.
I was going to say, like, if you're better conditioned, you'll be better able to then recover more so from the travel than from the golf. So
Yeah,
you're in a better position to perform wherever
absolutely.
you're going, because South Africa is 1st of February uh, through the 25th between SDC Open, Baines Whiskey, Cape Town, Dimension Data and Nelson Mandela, but like they're all over South Africa. And
Yeah.
like, is it a 4-hour flight? No. From is it Johannesburg to Cape Town? So it's not the smallest place either.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not necessarily the strains of golf. There's lots of people who can walk 18 holes and recover and be okay the next day. But it's the flights. And again, where I'm flying to this year, or where I was flying to this year, Egypt was a bit of a spin. But other than that, I think the longest flight might have been just over 3 hours. I mean, just maybe 4 hours. So that's nothing backbreaking about any of that. But a few of the longer spins will be, it'll be a little bit of a test. So yeah, any advantage I can get like that. Stephen's a big help there, in fairness.
Do you wear any wearables or anything like that? Because I know I had a chat with Liam Nolan earlier this year, and he's type 1 diabetes, and he found he actually travels a day earlier for the international stuff with Ireland now, because he realizes he needs that extra time to recover. Now we're talking transatlantic stuff more so.
Yeah.
But do you dig into the data side of like that side of things as well, or do you just work on? I feel I might need the 3 Weetabix this morning. I'm feeling a bit slow.
Well, you actually remind me. I'm going to get a whoop, so that was a good reminder. So no, up to now I haven't really been looking into it.
There you go now. Merry Christmas.
Thank you,
from
buddy.
me to me.
From me to me. Yeah, correct.
No panic. I'll send you on my referral code after if you don't have one already.
There you go.
Probably have one already. I find it very useful if even to tell me, do you know what? You're wrecked from not sleeping due to the 2 kids. You're okay to do nothing today.
Yeah,
so that's how I use it.
And then the guilt is gone, so it's great.
But no, I'm big into data, and the guilt is gone exactly. But then when you are in the green and you still feel sluggish, you can't be taking a rest day every day. But it's very good for, I suppose, long-term assessments. You get a weekly and a monthly, and this might turn into a hoop ad, but that's mainly why I use it. I've like an annual goal to be in double-digit strain and to have, 4 of 7 days in the green, 2 small kids, just, and it's little habits here and there. What challenge tour goal has been reached? You're there. Give me 2 things, 3 things that you can't wait to do, or places to go, or tournaments to play in now that you've achieved the getting to challenge tour.
Paddy, I'll be the first to tell you I'm outrageously boring. There's very few places that I would say I can't wait to go. I know this isn't the answer you're looking for, but there really isn't. Like, I go to all these places. I'm very lucky. We went to like Lake Como this year, a few different pretty cool places. And in fairness, I did go to see Lake Como, but other than that, I wouldn't really be one for that. I take it very much as a job. I'm there to play my golf, to practice, get acclimatized, and then I go back and I rest. And it's like, it's on repeat, but it's not really much of an ask for me to do that. Like I said, I'm the first to tell you I wouldn't be the most interesting in the world. So, although I have to say I am looking forward to hopefully, there was last year, hopefully this year there's an event in Dubai. I haven't been there, or Abu Dhabi, sorry. So it would be pretty cool to see that, but I can't say I'm necessarily, it's more just kind of what I'm practicing to be able to produce it in competition. That's what I'm excited about.
No, lovely. Because after all, it is a job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if
but
you
it's
look
like
that
sometimes,
way, it's a nice way to compartmentalize it as well.
Yeah, but when you say it's not you, but when people say it's a job, I don't mean that negatively. I mean, like, it's a job. There's lots of jobs people love doing, and I really like doing this. So I want to be able to do as best I can. So after I play my golf, I just want to, just rest, just take it easy, and be ready to go for the next day. It's not necessarily a big ask for me.
No, deadly. Absolutely. South Africa's February. It's like -2 in Ireland now, going up to Christmas. Will you, just when you mentioned Dubai and Abu Dhabi there, because I know that, I think it's David Carey or Conor O'Rourke or one, there's a posse of lads, they go out to Dubai or Abu Dhabi for like a week's warm weather practice.
Yeah.
Is that on your agenda as well? If even to somewhat get, because I doubt South Africa is the coldest place even in February.
No, yeah,
Even to get the body temperature up, Galway is, coastal. So
yeah, slightly different. Yeah, I don't think I'll go to Abu Dhabi. I think I'll either go to. I was actually half thinking of going to Portugal for a week just this side of Christmas. And then after Christmas, I'll either go back to Portugal or to Spain. There's a place down there in Spain I go to near Estepona. And just play a couple of either the Toro or the Algarve Tour in Portugal. So yeah, one of those two places, because like I'm very comfortable being at home, but I'm only comfortable being at home if I can do a bit of practice. And at the moment, like that hitter yesterday was great, and I was really happy with the golf I played. The course was in really good condition for Mark Links Jameson, but my God, was it cold! So like I'm still cold. So
yeah,
yeah, give me some sun.
yeah. You don't need any. You don't need any ice baths when you're playing golf in December in Ireland. That's a fact.
I was saying to the
It's like
lads,
a
Paddy,
5 hour
every
ice
shot
bath.
feels like your first shot. So
But at
cold.
least they have some decent hot toddies there. Is it on the 10T?
It wasn't even open, Paddy.
9.
Wasn't even open.
Yeah, 10T, and then you can pass it. Wasn't open. Oh, shocker!
Huh.
Right, let's not discuss that.
I know.
Because when I was there, I had some
Trust me.
12-year to warm me right up.
Yeah.
Who owns your golf swing?
Oh, there's a question. I'd like to think I do.
Because I know
Yeah.
you're big into it, and like from
Yeah.
the mechanics, and you see yourself as a mechanic. So what I mean by that is, are you self-coaching, or do you rely on feedback from a coach to like check on things?
Oh no, I definitely wouldn't be self-taught. No, God, no. I take a lot of ownership over it, but no, Dad has always taught me. Dad studied the golf machine, so it's a very technical way of looking at it. But I was always brought up that way, so that's like kind of bread and butter to me, is looking at the golf swing that way. So yeah, Dad, I would be getting lessons off Dad.
Yeah, I was saying mechanic when I was like, it's machine, it's golf machine.
Yeah. No, I know, yeah, I know, I get you. But yeah, there's so many rabbit holes you can go down, but it's I have to say, I really enjoy trying to figure it out. It's like a jigsaw, but it's like constantly moving. So yeah, Dad is, however obsessed I am about it, Dad is seriously obsessed about it. So between the two of us, it's yeah, it's I don't know, it's a match made in hell or a match made in heaven, but it's one of those two. And then I'm up here in Dublin a lot, and I see
it's a match made.
It's a match made, yeah, correct. I see Noel Fox a lot,
Yeah.
and Noel has some great insights. So I see Noel a little bit. Noel's been through what I've been through as well.
Was Avicii levels on the playlist?
It wasn't levels. It's not levels, Paddy. You know it's not levels. It's High on Life. Don't get that wrong.
High on, like, that's the one. That's the walk-on song, everybody.
It hasn't changed.
100%. I think I added the wrong Avicii song, so it's the playlist. So I may change that. But I'm not sure if it was Noel Fox said it. I'm not sure if it was I'm not sure if it was Noel Fox said it. Re-challenge tour in terms of play on it, but get the F off it as fast as possible, right?
Sounds like
might have been Noel, might have been Peter O'Keefe, might have been someone else. Noel hasn't been on the podcast yet, so you might nudge him there. But are you going to approach this kind of the same way you recommend folks approach apps, and that give it 2 years, give it 3 years, and put as much as you can into it?
Yeah, I don't think that's the mindset I would go into it with. I would go into it thinking I want to get off this as soon as possible. But I don't think it's a case of, well, it's okay if it doesn't go well the first year, I have 2 years more, and if it doesn't go well, second year I have another year. I wouldn't be looking at it so much that way, because like the standard is good. Like, so if you're not producing, you not only might you not get off it, you might be, relegated. So, I generally I don't really look at it that way before, during the season. Maybe after the season, if I'm kind of doing a review of how things go. But like when I set out, like I'll be setting out to play, as good as possible. I'm not really thinking of, I have a couple of years at this, or I think that's a bit my opinion anyway, that's too it's too broad thinking. It's too long term. I'm thinking, right, I'm going to hit down the right side of the first. I'm going to hit my wedge just short of the flag. I'm going to hold the button. I'm going to go on to second, do something similar. So that's the way I go about it.
So you coming from Alps and you're going to challenge. There's a lot more travel, a lot more accommodation. Caddy isn't full time yet, I don't think. Depends, or you might pick up local ones. The question is money. How are you going to manage that in terms of getting to all the spots? You know.
I know, yeah, not easy. I just signed with a management company there, Source Sports Consulting. So, yeah, they'll have to.
Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. Yeah, they'll have to give me a hand. They've been good so far. So, yeah, I'll need some good sponsors, and yeah, there's far-reaching places we're going to have to get to. So, no more than what you were saying about being a little bit OCD. Ideally, I would choose to have it that way as well. So as soon as the schedule comes out and I can kind of, I have a good idea of which I'll be getting into, I'll be booking them fast, get in there ahead of everyone else.
What part will the management company, what part of your week to week or month to month life will they now take control of that you might have had to manage yourself in the last couple of years? So what controllable are they now going to take care of, or what variable more so are they going to take off your plate so that you can just focus more on performing?
Yeah, they're well, obviously I haven't had a season with them yet, or even one event, so I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but they've offered the service to do as much or as little as I want them to do, so I can get them to book all my flights and all my accommodation if that's what I want. But I'm kind of comfortable enough for most of the year to do that myself. There's certain times where it really loads or really kind of gets congested, so I might be going from one airport to another to play the next week. So that's when kind of I would want them to come in to maybe, while I'm on the air and I've no Wi-Fi, they can start booking me some things. But yeah, as much like from anything from finding sponsors to booking hotels to possibly applying for some invites to some events, any number of things. But like, I've been a pro 3 years now. Well, playing 3 years, technically 4 years, but we talked about the first year. So I've kind of got a good grasp of all that stuff. It doesn't hugely bother me, but again, this year there's a few more events, a few tougher places to get to. So yeah, I might offload some of that stuff, but yeah, I'm pretty comfortable doing the vast majority of that stuff.
He might have asked you yesterday in Jameson Links, and I generally ask people on the podcast what's the best golf tip you ever gotten. But seeing as you're the machine, right?
I wish it was
what's
machine.
the feel at the moment, or is there a feel, as Peter O'Keefe does say? What's the feel at the moment, Ronan, in your golf swing?
Well, Paddy, the feel on Monday in the Jameson was nothing. I couldn't feel anything. So I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but I felt nothing from the start to the finish. Everything was numb. So that was my feel was to stay
numb, numb to the core.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, stop the lights. Ronan, have a lovely Christmas at home. We'll be following you from remotely. Well, I will anyway. Anyone down in South Africa, Irish descent or a Galwegian, may get out to Zabula Golf Estate and Spa in Limpopo on the 1st to the 4th of February. But yeah, we'll be cheering you on from near and far next year. Thanks for your time as ever. And we'll keep playing that walk-on song every week. Ronan Mullarney, what an absolute gentleman. Wishing him the very best of luck in South Africa and for the rest of the year. If you liked this week's show, please do share it with your family and friends. If you're looking to get custom fit, hit that link in the show notes below and head down, book your place in 4 Golf Custom. Tell them Paddy sent you. Derek, Don, Christine and Jill will take good care of you. Share the show, as I said. Hit up paddytalksgolf.com for more back episodes. And also, it's been rejigged. So you might like the new imagery there. You might like the new golf blog there about experiences and golf in Ireland. Until we tee it up again soon, I'm Paddy.